That's all the Golden Horizon had before its antimatter core turned into a supernova. The luxury ship was burning, spewing deadly blue radiation into the void. But the worst part wasn't the fire. It was the Federation fleet surrounding it. Heavily armed cruisers, doing absolutely nothing. Ronin slammed his fist on the dashboard of the rust bucket. "Fed Command, there are life signs on that boat," he screamed into the comms. "Why aren't you moving in?" The commander's voice was cold as ice. "Protocol dictates safe distance, citizen. It's a zero probability extraction. Stand down." "Stand down?" Ronin zoomed his sensors on a fractured window. Through the smoke, he saw them. Small shapes, Xilian children, pressing their tiny hands against the glass, watching the heroes watch them die. Ronin felt the heat rise in his chest. "Computer," he growled. "Divert all power to forward shields." "Disable safety limiters. Warning," the computer chirped. "That will void your warranty." Ronin gripped the throttle. "I am the warranty." He slammed it forward. The rust bucket didn't glide, it screamed. Ronin blasted past the blockade, ignoring the Federation's warnings. Debris hammered his shields like meteors. Bang. Clang. Shields at critical. "Just hold together," Ronin muttered. He spun the ship, matching the burning freighter's death roll, and fired reverse thrusters at the last second. Crunch. Metal shrieked against metal as he slammed his ship directly onto the hull. Magnetic clamps locked on. Ronin grabbed his plasma cutter and blew the airlock. He walked out onto the burning surface, looking down through the glass at the terrified children. He ignited the blue blade. "Coming in," he grunted. "Ready or not?" The circle of hull plating glowed cherry red, then white. With a heavy boot, Ronin kicked it in. Clang! The metal disc fell onto the promenade deck, sizzling as it hit the carpet. Ronin dropped through the hole, landing in a crouch. The noise hit him instantly, alarms blaring. Structural supports groaning like dying beasts. The roar of fires consuming the luxury shops nearby. But under it all, he heard the worst sound. Absolute, terrified silence from the victims. He stood up, his armored form towering in the smoke. "Clear!" Ronin shouted, his voice amplified. 5 small figures huddled behind a decorative fountain. The fountain was dry, cracked by the heat. The Xilian children were in bad shape. They were amphibious creatures, their skin usually slick and moist. Now, in the searing heat of the burning ship, they were turning gray and flaky. They were drying out. "Help!" the oldest one croaked. She stood in front of the others, shaking, holding a piece of broken pipe as a weapon. She was barely 3 feet tall. Ronin didn't raise his weapon. He knelt down, opening his faceplate so they could see he wasn't a droid or a monster. "Put the pipe down, kid," Ronin said gently. "I'm your ride." The ship lurched violently. A massive chandelier above them swung loose, its cable snapping. It plummeted toward the children. Ronin moved faster than a man his size should be able to. He surged forward, activating the servos in his suit. He didn't try to catch the chandelier. He tackled the group, covering all 5 of them with his own body. Crash. Glass and crystal shattered against Ronin's backplate. A heavy brass fixture dented his shoulder armor. He grunted but didn't budge. He stayed there, a human shield, until the debris settled. He looked down. The kids were safe beneath him, eyes wide with shock. "See?" Ronin grinned, wiping glass dust from his visor. "I'm sturdy. Now we gotta move. Your skin looks bad." He reached for his belt canteen, popped the cap, and poured water over the smallest child, whose gills were gasping for air. The kid sighed, the gray skin turning a healthy blue again. "I don't have enough water for everyone," Ronin said grimly. "We need to get to my ship. It's cooler there." We cannot," the oldest girl whispered, pointing down the corridor. The blast doors closed when the fire started. "We are trapped in this section," Ronin looked. A heavy security door blocked the path to where he had docked. The control panel was melted slag. "And the vents?" Ronin asked. "Too small for you," she replied. Ronin looked at the blast door. Then he looked at the floor. The ship was tilting. Gravity was failing. "Okay." Ronin stood up, hoisting the smallest child onto his back. "If we can't go through the door, we go around it." "External walk." The girl looked at him with horror. "Outside in the vacuum? We have no suits." "I know," Ronin said, unclipping a heavy canvas salvage bag from his belt. It was designed to carry ore samples, airtight and tough. "But I have a bag." He opened the sack. It was undignified, it was terrifying, but it was the only way. "Everyone in," Ronin ordered. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. Space was silent, terrifyingly silent. Ronin stepped out of the hull breach and onto the exterior skin of the golden horizon. His magnetic boots locked onto the metal with a vibration that traveled up his shin, but there was no sound. No clank, just the rhythmic hissing of his own respirator in his ears. Slung over his shoulder was the heavy canvas salvage bag. Inside were 5 alien lives. "Hang tight," Ronin whispered, though he knew they couldn't hear him through the vacuum. "Don't throw up." He looked toward his ship, the rust bucket. It was docked only 50 meters away. But in a debris field, 50 meters was a marathon. The freighter beneath his feet shuddered. A silent explosion blew out a cargo bay 3 decks down. Ronin saw the flash of light, saw the debris cloud erupting like shrapnel, but heard nothing. It was like watching a violent movie on mute. He moved carefully, 1 foot. "Lock next foot!" Lock. If he moved too fast, the inertia of the bag would swing him off balance. If he moved too slow, the radiation would cook them all. "Warning," his suit comp chirped. "Radiation exposure increasing. Suit shielding at 60%. Yeah, Ronin grunted. A piece of jagged metal, part of a solar array, spun silently toward him. It was moving fast. Ronin couldn't dodge, not with the bag. He braced himself, turned his back to the debris, and shielded the sack with his own body. Impact. He felt the blow. It slammed into his armor, cracking the ceramic plate on his shoulder. The force nearly tore his boots from the hull. He gritted his teeth, tasting blood, but he didn't let go of the bag. He checked the sack. No tears. "Good canvas, salvage vessel." The Federation commander's voice cut through his comms, loud and angry. "We are detecting biological signatures in a sack?" "What are you doing?" Ronin kept walking. "I'm taking out the trash, Commander. Since you boys are too scared to get your paint scratched. You are endangering civilians. That requires a pressurized transport module. You are violating safety code 88 beta." Ronin laughed, a harsh sound in his helmet. "You want to cite me?" Ronin panted, reaching the airlock of his ship. "Come down here and write me a ticket." He reached the airlock of the rust bucket. He punched the code. The outer door slid open. He threw the bag inside, scrambled in after it, and slammed the emergency seal. Hiss! Air flooded back into the chamber. Sound returned. The roar of the dying freighter, the hum of his own ship. Ronin ripped the bag open. The Zelian children tumbled out, gasping, gray-skinned and terrified, but alive. The oldest girl looked up at him, her gills fluttering. We are in space?" "We were," Ronin said, collapsing into the pilot's seat and ripping off his helmet. "Now, we're leaving." He grabbed the throttle. "Strap in, kids, it's gonna get hot." "Hold on to something!" Ronin roared. He didn't wait for them to buckle up. There was no time. The freighter's core was glowing a blinding star-white. He punched the release clamps. The rust bucket tore free from the hull, engines screaming. Krakum, the golden horizon, died. The explosion was absolute. A sphere of pure antimatter annihilation expanded outward, vaporizing metal, glass, and memories. The shockwave hit Ronin's ship like the hand of a god. The ship tumbled, alarms shrieked. The artificial gravity failed, sending loose tools floating around the cockpit. The children screamed, floating in 0G, bouncing off the padded walls. Ronin fought the controls. The stick bucked in his hands like a living thing. He wasn't flying anymore. He was wrestling physics. "Stabilizers offline," the computer yelled. "Rear shields down." "I know." Ronin shouted back. He saw the wave of blue fire gaining on them in the rear monitor. It was faster than his sublight engines. "Okay," Ronin whispered, sweat dripping into his eyes. "Crazy idea time." He flipped the safeties off the FTL, faster than light drive. "You weren't supposed to jump this close to a gravity well. It could tear the ship apart." "Don't do it!" The Federation commander's voice crackled over the radio. "You'll atomize yourself!" Ronin looked at the kids floating in the cabin. He looked at the fire behind them. "Better atomized than cooked," he muttered. He slammed the FTL lever. Boom. The stars stretched. Reality bent. For a split second, the rust bucket existed in 2 places at once. The shockwave licked the rear thrusters, singing the paint, but it was too late. They vanished into hyperspace. The silence that followed was deafening. Ronin slumped back, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. The blue tunnel of hyperspace swirled outside the viewport, calm and indifferent. He spun his chair around. The children were huddled on the ceiling, which was now the floor due to the spin. tangled in a net of cargo straps. They were green, shaking, and crying, but they were breathing. Everyone. Ronin gasped. Everyone still got their limbs? The oldest girl nodded slowly. She looked at Ronin with wide, unblinking eyes. You are a very bad pilot, she whispered. Ronin laughed. It was a hysterical, broken sound. Yeah, kid, but I'm a great swimmer. The crisis was over, but the hunger was just beginning. 5 alien children sat in a semicircle on the cargo bay floor. They stared at Ronin. They blinked. They waited. Ronin stared back. He realized with a sinking feeling that he had absolutely no idea what Zillions ate. Okay, Ronin scratched his head. Who's hungry? 5 hands went up. Right. Computer, what do Zillions eat? Zillion biology requires high moisture protein. The computer droned. Algae, krill, or soft-shell mollusks. Ronin checked his pantry. He had 1. Dried beef jerky, too tough. 2 powdered coffee, too caffeinated. 3 a crate of instant spicy noodles. Noodles it is, Ronin decided. He boiled water. He poured it into 5 styrofoam cups. The smell of artificial chicken flavoring filled the ship. It wasn't gourmet, but it was wet and warm. He handed the cups to the kids. They sniffed them suspiciously. It's soup, Ronin lied. Earth delicacy, very expensive. The smallest child took a sip. His eyes widened. He slurped the whole thing down in seconds. More, the child chirped. Ronin smiled. He sat down on a crate, watching them eat. For a moment, the war, the Federation, the explosion, it all faded. What is your name? The oldest girl asked, wiping noodle broth from her chin. Ronin. Ronin, she tested the word. I am Kala. These are my siblings. Our parents. They were on the lower deck. The mood in the room dropped like a stone. Ronin saw the grief hitting them. The realization. He moved closer. He didn't offer empty platitudes. He didn't say it'll be okay. I know, Ronin said softly. I saw the lower deck. It went first. Kala started to cry. Silent, shaking sobs, Ronin reached out. His hand, scarred and calloused, rested on her shoulder. It was heavy, warm, and solid. You're alive, Kala, Ronin said. That means they didn't die for nothing. You keep going. That's how you honor them. It was a soldier's comfort. Blunt but true. Kala leaned into his hand. The other children drifted closer, seeking the warmth of this strange armored giant. Are you a soldier? Kala asked. I used to be, Ronin said, looking at his helmet on the floor. Now I'm just a guy with a ship. You are a guardian, the smallest child said, holding up his empty cup. And a cook, Ronin chuckled. Don't tell anyone about the cooking. Ruins my street cred. Suddenly, the comms panel beeped. A priority hail. Ronin stood up, his face hardening. He walked to the cockpit. This is Ronin. Salvage vessel, a cold voice spoke. It wasn't the Federation commander. It was someone else. Someone with a heavier accent. You are in possession of stolen property, the Zillion heirs. Surrender them or be designated a pirate. Ronin looked at the sensor board. A black, unmarked Corvette was tracking them through hyperspace. Mercenaries. Looks like the party isn't over, Ronin muttered. Stolen property? Ronin growled into the mic. They're children, not cargo crates. Identify yourself. This is the private military vessel Black Fang, the voice replied, oily and arrogant. Those children are the heirs to the Zillion Syndicate. They are worth 50 million credits. Hand them over, and we might let you keep your miserable life. Ronin cut the channel. He spun the chair to face Kala. Heirs? Ronin raised an eyebrow. My father ran the shipping guilds, Kala admitted, looking down. He had enemies. Great. Rich enemies, Ronin sighed. He turned back to the console. Computer, tactical analysis. Enemy vessel is a Striker-class corvette, the computer reported. Shields heavy, weapons lethal. Probability of survival in a direct engagement, 3%. Never tell me the odds, Ronin muttered. Plot a course for the nearest asteroid cluster. We're going hunting. He yanked the ship out of hyperspace. The rust bucket shuddered as it dropped into normal space, right in the middle of the dead man's belt, a swirling river of massive iron-heavy asteroids. The Black Fang dropped out seconds later, its sleek black hull looking like a shark among the rocks. You cannot hide, scavenger, the mercenary captain taunted over the open channel. Our sensors are locked. Missiles streaked from the corvette. Hold on! Ronin banked hard right, scraping the belly of his ship against a massive asteroid. Sparks flew. The missiles slammed into the rock, detonating harmlessly behind them. He's faster than us, Ronin realized. I can't outrun him in here. He looked at his controls. He looked at the industrial towing panel. The rust bucket wasn't a fighter jet. It was a tow truck. It had massive magnetic grappling cables designed to haul wrecked battleships. "Kala!" Ronin shouted over the roar of the engines. "You know how to operate the rear winch?" "The winch?" Kala blinked. "I'm 12. It's like a video game. Grab the joystick. When I yell now, you press the red button. Can you do that?" Kala climbed into the rear gunner's seat. Her small hands gripped the heavy controls. She looked terrified, but she nodded. "Yes." Ronin slammed the brakes. It was a suicidal maneuver. The rust bucket went from 500 knots to 0 in seconds. The inertial dampeners screamed. The Black Fang, chasing hot on their tail, overshot them. The sleek Corvette zoomed past Ronin's cockpit, exposing its rear engines. "Now!" Ronin roared. Kala slammed the red button, thunk hiss. 2 heavy magnetic grappling hooks shot out from the rear of Ronin's ship. They trailed thick durasteel cables. The hooks slammed into the Black Fang's engine exhaust ports. Clang. The magnets locked on with the force of a freight train. "Gotcha!" Ronin yelled. "Computer, engage reverse thrusters." "Full power!" The tow cables went taut. The mercenary ship jerked violently. It was like a dog running to the end of a chain. Its forward momentum was arrested by the massive weight of Ronin's ship anchoring it. "What are you doing?" the mercenary captain screamed over the comms. "Release us! You wanted the kids?" Ronin gritted his teeth, fighting the G-force. "Come and get 'em." He spun the rust bucket around, using the cables as a whip. He swung the massive Corvette like a wrecking ball. "Swing him, Kala, swing him!" The Black Fang lost control. It spiraled helplessly, tethered to the salvage hauler. Ronin aimed for the biggest, ugliest asteroid in the belt. "Release!" Ronin shouted. Kala hit the release button. The cables detached. The Black Fang flew sideways, momentum carrying it straight into the asteroid. Crunch! The Corvette slammed into the rock. Its shields flared and died. The hull buckled. It didn't explode. It was too tough for that. But it was crippled. "Engines dead, weapons offline." Ronin didn't stick around to check the damage. "And that," Ronin panted, wiping sweat from his eyes, "is why you don't mess with a tow truck driver." He punched the hyperspace drive. The stars stretched. They were gone. The rust bucket limped into the docking bay of Sanctuary Point, a hollowed-out moon on the edge of the neutral zone. It wasn't a Federation station. It was a hideout for refugees, rebels, and people who didn't exist on official maps. Steam hissed from the ship's overheated engines as the landing gear touched down. Ronin sat in the pilot's seat for a moment, listening to the cooling fans spin down. His hands were shaking, just a little. The crash, the spacewalk, the asteroid fight. He was getting too old for this. "Are we safe?" Kayla asked from the rear seat. She was clutching the empty noodle cup like a talisman. "Yeah, kid," Ronin sighed, unbuckling his harness. "We're safe. This is Auntie Etta's place. She makes better soup than I do." He led them down the ramp. Waiting for them was a short, stout woman with 4 mechanical arms and a face like a kindly bulldog. This was Ida. She ran the station's orphanage repair shop. "Ronin!" Ida shouted, wiping grease from her hands. "You look like you wrestled a black hole and lost." "Something like that," Ronin grunted. He gestured to the 5 amphibian children huddled behind his legs. "I brought guests. They need water, medical scans, and a place to hide." Eda's eyes softened. She looked at the bruised, gray-skinned children. She didn't ask questions. She didn't ask for ID. "Come here, little ones," Ada said gently, her mechanical arms extending to offer blankets. "I have a hydro tank warm and ready." The younger children ran to her immediately. Safety was a universal language, but Kala stayed back. She stood by Ronin, gripping the fabric of his flight suit. "Go on," Ronin nudged her gently. "Ida is good people. She'll contact your extended family. The ones who didn't try to blow you up." "You are leaving?" Kala whispered. Her violet eyes were filled with tears again. Ronin knelt down. He was eye level with her now. "I have to, Kala. My ship is a wreck. I have a bounty on my head now thanks to those mercenaries. If I stay, I put you in danger." "But you saved us," she insisted. "You are a hero." Ronin chuckled, a dry, self-deprecating sound. He tapped the dented chest plate of his armor. "I'm just a guy who hates paperwork, kid. Don't make me into a statue. Pigeons crap on statues." Claude didn't laugh. She reached into the pocket of her ruined tunic and pulled out a small object. It was a signet ring, heavy, platinum, engraved with the crest of the Zillion Syndicate. "My father gave this to me," she said, pressing it into Ronin's massive palm. "It opens the vaults on Xylos Prime. It is worth millions." Ronin looked at the ring. "It could buy a new ship. It could buy a new life. He could retire to a beach planet and drink cocktails until he died of old age." He closed Kayla's hand around the ring, pushing it back to her. "Keep it," Ronin said. "You're going to need it to rebuild your family's business someday. And when you do, make sure your ships have better escape pods." Kala hugged him. It was a fierce, desperate hug. Ronin froze for a second, then awkwardly patted her back with his armored hand. "Take care of them, Kala," Ronin whispered. "You're the captain now." She pulled away, wiped her eyes, and walked toward Ida and the others. She stopped at the door, looked back, and gave him a clumsy, human-style salute. Ronin returned it perfectly. As the airlock doors hissed shut, separating them, Ida walked up to Ronin. "You turned down the ring," Ida noted, shaking her head. "You're an idiot, Ronin." "I know," Ronin said, walking back toward his battered ship. "But I sleep better than they do." He patted the hull of the rust bucket. "Come on, old girl. Let's see if we can find some duct tape to fix that engine." Ronin sat in his cockpit, staring at the blinking red light on his fuel gauge. "Reserve power only," the computer announced cheerfully. "Hull integrity at 45%, coffee supply depleted." "You had to mention the coffee," Ronin grumbled. He was broke again. He had saved 5 lives, destroyed a Corvette, and outran a supernova. And his reward was a repair bill that would take 6 months to pay off. He leaned back, putting his boots up on the console. He looked at the empty passenger seats behind him. A few hours ago, they were filled with terrified, gray-skinned children eating spicy noodles. Now they were just empty chairs. The silence in the ship was heavy. He missed the noise. Bing! A message notification popped up on his main screen. Ronin sighed. "Let me guess. The Federation sent me a speeding ticket." He opened the message. It was indeed from the Federation. Citation: 4492B, violation. Unauthorized entry into a restricted blast zone, violation. Reckless operation of a Class C salvage vessel, violation. Transportation of miners in non-standard containment, SAC. Penalty: 5,000 credits. Ronin stared at the screen. Then he started to laugh. He laughed until his ribs hurt. "Put it on my tab!" he shouted at the screen. Bing, another message. This one was different. Encrypted, no sender ID. Ronin opened it. There was no text. Just a bank transfer notification. Amount: 50,000 credits. Note: for the noodles. K. Ronin stared at the number. It wasn't the millions the signet ring was worth, but it was enough to fix the hull, enough to refuel, enough to buy real coffee, Kala. The kid had hacked his account and paid him anyway. "Smart kid," Ronin whispered, a genuine smile breaking through his exhaustion. "She's gonna run that syndicate one day." He sat up straight. The weariness in his bones seemed to evaporate. He was not just a scavenger anymore. He was a solvent scavenger. "Computer," Ronin said, his voice strong. "Pay the fine. Route the rest to the shipyard for repairs. And plot a course. Destination?" the computer asked. Ronin looked out at the stars. Millions of them. Infinite possibilities, infinite trouble. "Pick a direction," Ronin said, engaging the thrusters. "Somewhere loud, somewhere dangerous. Somewhere they need a tow truck." The rust bucket shuddered, groaned, and then roared to life. Blue fire erupted from the engines, pushing the scarred white ship away from the moon, away from safety, and back into the deep, dark ocean of space. The Federation had their protocols. The rich had their credits. Ronin had the road, and that was enough. The end.